Okay, so for those of you who did make it, thank you for coming. For those of you who didn't, I'm just going to run through some information, very much in alignment with what was on the flyer you probably responded to apply to the fellowship. But this was also an opportunity to ask questions. If you have questions, you can always email them to me directly, and I will do my best to give you a prompt response. So in terms of the information I wanted to cover, in addition to responding to questions, just thought I'd talk about the project background, both from the point of view of where did this specific project come from and how am I approaching it as a representative of the California Geographic Alliance and the Global Education Project. I wanted to talk about roles and expectations. That includes mine and yours as a fellow or a prospective fellow, and what is going to be expected both as your individual kind of workload, but also our collective work output. And then the last part is just like, what's our point in doing this? What is the impact that we're going to make through this project, which is my motivation, and I think hopefully is your motivation as well, to make some difference in students' lives and the way geography and computer science are taught. Okay, so project background. So the California Subject Matter Project received funding from the state of California. This was like an official allocation by the legislature to increase the ability of our TK-12 teacher workforce to support computer science education. What the Subject Matter Project did in responding to this opportunity was to suggest that a sensible, a good approach was to look at integrating kind of principles of computer science and computational thinking into all subjects as kind of a basic literacy. And so our project is one of several projects that are kind of pilots looking at what this integration might look like in different subjects. So there are other projects working in other subject areas. Our proposal was in geography to integrate computer science into the teaching of geography. So the motivation for the funding is really advancing computer science education. The motivation within our project is advancing geography education. And so those two things kind of come together in the way we're going to move forward with the project. So the CGA, of which I'm the director, has a long-term mission of impacting geography education. In particular, we're looking to reverse a trajectory, to reinvigorate the subject, to get people to think about it differently, for people to see that geography really does support the things that people want education to do. If we think about the environmental literacy focus, or engaged citizenship, or ethnic studies, or some of the different ways in which education has evolved recently to respond to evolving kind of conditions in our world and our hopes of what education can do, geography has kind of missed being included as a critical contributor just because it's kind of slipped off of people's radar in the secondary and primary education kind of windows. So we need for people to be thinking about geography, to be thinking about the ways in which it aligns with the things people are trying to do. And that's kind of what I'm motivated by. And now for the past several years, I was amazed when I looked this up and I found out it started in 2018. I've been part of something called the Encoding Geography Research Practitioner Partnership. So the California Geographic Alliance was asked to partner with the American Association of Geographers, the San Diego State University Department of Geography, and several other institutions kind of at a national level that are interested in geography education. We also brought in and kind of acted as the bridge to a local school district partner, Sweetwater Union High School District. So we've been working with teachers already kind of on a more narrow scope specifically looking at the 9th grade geography course that was developed for and updated for Sweetwater, and kind of their specific computer science courses. And so that we've had both computer science and geography teachers writing lessons to kind of increase attention to the overlap between geographic and computational thinking and geography as a subject and computer science. So this opportunity that came up through the CSMP just kind of came for me. I wasn't really following this funding situation, so it came out of the blue, but connected directly with something that we've invested a lot of time and energy in, and I think we'll have some carryover to bring into this project as far as kind of sharing from what teachers learned and what teachers did there that can help fellows in this project. So roles and expectations. First and foremost, the project is about identifying and supporting individual teachers who will be identified as fellows, who will be doing the kinds of work that good teachers are already doing right now, maybe even multitasking while they're attending a webinar, because you're constantly creating curriculum. You're thinking about the specific needs and interests of your students, and you're trying to achieve learning goals that you have for those students. And that's what you're going to be doing in this project, with the specific interest of kind of hitting that idea of where can computer science concepts be integrated within the teaching of geographic thinking and geographic concepts, whether or not that's in a class that includes geography in the title, or is even a history social science class, which is where geography typically lives in California's K-12 system. So the fellows will just be doing that work with their own, usual workspace, usual workflow, developing, testing, and revising their own lesson plans. And then the extra, in addition to the kind of thematic emphasis on the connection between computer science and geography, teachers will also have this idea about creating a shareable resource, taking what they're doing with their students and making it possible for other teachers to pick that up and adapt and use that same kind of approach or lesson with their students. So more specifically, we're going to be meeting monthly. I suspect we will not meet 12 months of the year, but with some breaks in the summer and possibly Christmas holiday time, winter holiday. So we'll have 1.5 hour Zoom sessions. Initially, we'll be focused on kind of group learning and bringing some concepts in, maybe doing some sharing around readings. And then gradually, as fellows are advancing their own work, we'll be allotting more time for sharing of what's going on, kind of development challenges that people are facing, or looking for ideas, or reporting back on their experiences and testing their material with their students. There is an expectation that fellows will attend those meetings and probably spend about 2 hours either doing some additional reading or writing to just kind of share out your experiences as a fellow, working with the ideas and working with engaging your students in that overlap of computer science and geography. We've also tentatively planned out a 3-day meeting in San Diego, where travel costs and accommodations will be paid for, and fellows will just meet to really kind of push forward, that we're going to be on a slow burn throughout the majority of the fellowship period, working kind of, like I said, in the background, overlapping with the work that teachers are already doing. So this is an opportunity for us to really kind of push that extra step and make sure that we're converting from that learning and practicing in classrooms to sharing something with other teachers around the state, or even around your community. And towards that end, at the end of the fellowship period, in spring 2024 and beyond, we'll be looking at, spring 2025 and beyond, we'll be looking at the conferences, statewide conferences that are opportunities for us to present, that might include things like the California STEAM Symposium, the California Council for the Social Studies. These will be opportunities for some fellows that are interested in participating in those conferences. And again, for those that attend, the project would pay for costs. And we'll also be developing some publications, hopefully, as another way to just get the word out about what's going on. Okay, so the last little bit then is, if we do all this work, how do we make sure it makes an impact? Well, the local impacts, the first part of it, again, is just what you do all the time. So you're going to be gauging the impact on student engagement, learning outcomes, maybe even thinking about the work products that students are generating as a result of the work that you're doing as part of the fellowship. Hopefully there's some awareness raising at your school or at your district as far as what geography is really about, how it intersects with computer science, and how that intersection can be very relevant to dealing with challenging contemporary issues, whether they're environmental, social, economic. And this is also an opportunity, as with the CEGEP fellowship that Jen's been part of, or longer term CEGEP programs that Gina's been part of, just referencing the two people who are here in the room with me. There's an opportunity to leverage that interest and awareness in your area and bring further professional learning support to teachers in your community. And then from my perspective, I want to see some state impact. So I want to make sure that people know that this group of people are working on these ideas to update our understanding of what geography is as a subject, and increasing the focus across all subject areas on geographic knowledge and skills. I'm a biased representative of this idea, but I think these are critically important skill sets for our students, both for their own kind of life choices, life options, but also in terms of their ability to contribute to the big challenges that we're facing at community, state, national, and global levels. So we want to make relevant and engaging lessons available so people can see what this new version of geographic education looks like. And we want students who experience those lessons to know that there's a lot of options for them in California. There's a lot of great degree offering programs. There's classes at the community college and college level. There's professional certificates, all types of things that target a lot of careers where this overlap between computer science and geography is making a huge difference. You know, kind of in our era of big data and our big environmental challenges, and all of this information that we need to harness to make better decisions, and geography and computer science together are at the forefront of that. So that's my introduction to the project and to what fellowship is all about within the context of this project. So if there's any other questions, I would be happy to take them. We covered them. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for attending. Well, look, we got you out in time for kid pickup. I look forward to this. We've got, just as an update, we've got 11 accepted fellows so far. So we've got plenty of room for at least that many again. So, you know, if you know anybody who's interested, please do encourage them. There's a couple of people who have spoken about their interest in doing it who have not yet applied. So we will move forward with it, whatever number we get is my anticipation. So it'd be great to get to 20. We've got some folks from, well, you guys are kind of representing the latitudinal extremes. We've also got some people from Central Valley, from LA area, so geographically diverse as well, and a variety of grade levels. I know we've got elementary, middle, and high school all included, so there should be lots of different experiments and developments happening.
So I think, oh, sorry, Gina. So I think what might be a potential thing that has got a few of the folks I've been talking to kind of wary of doing this is they're feeling like they don't have a very high level of experience with computer science. So do you necessarily need a high level of computer science to participate?
No, no. And matter of fact, my expectation, I mean, it's very much kind of, I'm anticipating that we begin with an introductory course in computer science and computational thinking, because that's the thing, based on the approach that CSNP has taken and that we're, fitting into. That's the thing we're not expecting teachers will have. They'll have some deep subject area knowledge. And then they'll be going, well, I know that in this field that I am interested in, computers, I mean, they might understand some applications or some concepts, but computer science is not their thing. We will read a couple articles that will break down computational thinking. And I will say to you, I'm a geographer, but not from the science side of the field, very much from a qualitative humanistic research field. So this was not my strong suit either. And when I started reading about computational thinking, I thought, this is systematic critical thinking. This is data-driven decision making. Like, there's a lot of other terms we could use to talk about it that you go, okay, students don't necessarily have to even envision a computer to think about how do you break down and organize information? How do you create categories so that you can, to have a focus on diversity without being overwhelmed by individual differences, things like that. So there's lots of room for people to learn that and for them to contribute to students being more computationally literate without having any significant background. They can respond to an email. They've got enough background.
Awesome.
Great. I'm glad you asked that. Yes, please do encourage, because it is no expectations from that. And I wouldn't want that to be a barrier. Gina, did you have something?
So it's not too late to invite people. We could go ahead and extend the invitation out.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Until the applications are in, you never, so people say, oh, I'm interested, but I know it's a really long time window. So I know that's a rough commitment in a sense, but also it's a low time commitment per month. So hopefully it's manageable in that way. And my hope was that made it possible for people to kind of participate on something on a little bit more of a slow burn, but still carry it through a school year so that they could have time to percolate on some ideas, develop a concept without there being pressure. For example, nobody's got to create something and get it into their students' experiences this school year. If they do, great, but that's not necessary. So we can, people can have time to do their own learning and think about, what they think will fit for themselves and for their students.
Great, thanks.
All right, I will stop the recording.